You know that feeling, right? Your heart starts pounding while you're watching a stock chart? It feels less like a smart strategy and more like, I don't know, a high-stress battle. So how do we deal with that? How do we find a mental framework to navigate it all? Well, today we're going to dive into that and explore a really ancient solution for our very modern markets.
So why is trading so stressful? I mean, it seems like a simple question on the surface, right? But the answer really gets into our own psychology. Why does this thing that's supposed to build our wealth so often feel like it's just costing us our peace of mind?
Well, it's because of this. The modern market is literally a battlefield for your emotions. Think about it. It's a constant assault. You're not just looking at numbers on a screen. You're battling these insane, volatile charts that spike and crash. You're seeing alarmist headlines everywhere that are practically designed to make you panic. And then there's that nagging feeling, that fear of missing out on the next big thing.
Yeah, this modern market battlefield, it has a very specific set of challenges. And honestly, they can wear down even the most experienced investor out there.
And I bet these pressures feel all too familiar, right? You've got these wild price swings, and your gut just screams, sell, get out now. Then there's the news feed. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose of information, and it makes it impossible to think clearly. Of course, all of this triggers that classic FOMO, the fear of missing out, and that pushes us to make impulsive, emotional decisions. And what's the end result of all this? Widespread burnout. It's this vicious cycle that can paralyze investors and, let's be honest, lead to some pretty significant losses.
So, what's the defense against all this modern chaos? Well, you might be surprised to hear that the answer comes from almost 2,000 years ago, from the mind of a Roman emperor.
Let me introduce you to Marcus Aurelius. Now, this guy wasn't sitting around in a comfortable palace. No, he was leading an entire empire through constant war, deadly plagues, and serious economic turmoil. The pressure he was under was just immense. And yet, what he's remembered for is his calm, his reason.
And this really gets to the heart of his whole mindset. You see, he absolutely despised war, but he knew it was his duty. So he was out there leading his soldiers on the battlefield, sharing every single hardship. What he was doing was accepting the harsh reality of his situation instead of just wishing it were different. And that commitment to seeing things exactly as they are, not as we wish they were, that's the real foundation of his wisdom.
He actually wrote this in his private journal, which is pretty incredible. He said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Wow. Just think about that for a second. It's such a powerful idea. Our experience of the world isn't defined by what happens to us, but by the quality of our thoughts about what happens. Our internal state, that's what truly matters.
And this leads us straight to the most practical, most powerful principle of his entire philosophy, the power of control.
So this philosophy is called Stoicism, and it was founded by a guy named Zeno of Citium, who, and you gotta love this, actually turned to philosophy after losing his entire fortune in a shipwreck. Talk about making the best of a bad situation. Anyway, at its core, Stoicism is a really simple but profound system for sorting the world into two buckets: things you have power over and things you absolutely do not.
Okay, so this slide right here, this is the whole game. This is the crucial point. Just look at the left column. You can't control the market. You can't control the news, or a sudden crash, or what other people are doing in a panic. Worrying about any of that stuff is just a total waste of energy. But now look at the right column. You can't control the quality of your research. You can't control the strategy you create and stick to. You can't control your emotional reactions, and you can't control your own discipline. This is where your power lies.
And here's Aurelius again, just summing it up perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. See, strength doesn't come from trying to bend the market to your will. It comes from mastering your own mind, no matter what the market throws at you.
All right, so this is all great philosophy, but how do we actually take this powerful idea and turn it into a concrete playbook for investing?
Well, we start with this rule from Marcus Aurelius himself. No random actions, none not based on underlying principles. What does that mean for us? It means we stop reacting and we start acting with intention. A Stoic investor doesn't make panicked moves. Nope, every single decision is guided by a clear set of principles.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, first, you follow your strategy. You don't abandon it just because you're in a panic. Next, you analyze things objectively and you learn to ignore the hype. You develop the discipline to calmly lock in your profits or to cut your losses, all according to your plan, without letting emotion get in the way.
And finally, and this one is huge, you start to view every obstacle not as a failure, but as an opportunity to become a stronger, more resilient investor.
You know, this is such a cool connection. The modern author Nassim Taleb actually gave this ancient idea a new name: anti-fragility. It's the quality of not just surviving shocks and volatility, but actually getting stronger because of them. And that, right there, is the ultimate goal of the Stoic investor.
And when you consistently apply these principles, you start to develop something really, really valuable. You build what we're calling a Stoic edge.
And this is an advantage that's available to literally everyone. You don't need some secret insider information or billions of dollars in the bank. Your edge comes from your internal world. It's your ability to stay calm when everyone else is panicking, to be patient when others are getting greedy, and to be disciplined when others are just being impulsive.
So how do you start building this today, right now? Here are 3 foundational steps. Number 1, invest in yourself. Develop valuable skills that provide a stable income, something market volatility can't touch. Number 2, accept loss. Seriously. It's not a personal failure. It's just a totally natural part of the investing process. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on. And number 3, let your results compound. You've got to trust the process and maintain that long-term strategy.
And the ultimate payoff here, it's huge. Because when you shift your focus away from the uncontrollable chaos of the market and onto the controllable discipline of your own mind, everything changes. Investing stops being this massive source of stress, and instead, it becomes a space for real personal growth. It becomes a training ground for resilience, for patience, and for wisdom.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. The very next time you're about to make an investment decision, to buy or to sell, I want you to just pause for a second and ask yourself, amid all the noise, all the charts, all the headlines, what is the one thing in this exact moment that I can truly, completely control? The answer to that question, that's where you'll find your strength.